Hello, mi gente, and welcome to Spanglish. Since the last record, a lot of things have happened in the Trump world, and I guess America, or what's left of it. And I do want to cover that, and I will in a episode coming up soon. But today, I want to talk about Santa Fe. I know you see it on the news all the time, and it's obviously depressing. But the reason I want to talk about it is because it's going to keep happening unless we do something about it. And I know if you're listening to this podcast, odds are that you are on board with this idea and you are going to make sure that you are registered to vote if you haven't registered already. And hopefully you can get some friends to register. And I'm hoping you are spreading, and I hope you're spreading the gospel of common sense gun laws. These shootings can be avoided, or at least minimized. I saw on CNN that there's been 22 school shootings this year. So basically about one a week, and that is unacceptable. This country is the only developed country in the world where these kinds of school shootings happen. And it's not just school shootings. The number of gun deaths in the United States is ridiculous. We are a nation obsessed with guns. And we're paying the price for it. Our children are paying the price for it. There's nothing wrong with owning a gun, but there's something wrong with you defending your quote-unquote right over laws that will help save lives, that will keep guns away from the hands of domestic abusers, etc. Because, again, this is not just about schools. Although, yes, I'm talking about the school shooting that happened recently, but this happens a lot. Every day you see news stories of a little kid finding a gun that his mom or his dad left unattended, and the kid shoots himself or herself or their sibling. It happens daily, and that is something, again, that could be avoided. There's no need to have that many guns around in this country, and passing laws that are common sense, that guarantee that hopefully shootings like this won't happen anymore. I think that's worth it. Every life that was lost this time in Parkland and the other shootings, it's worth it. It's worth at least to take a look at it. And so telling that the minute the shooting happened, the GOP had this whole agenda already, if you will, of what to blame this on, and nobody blamed it on guns. It's the most ridiculous things. The only thing in common in all these school shootings, I'm gonna say it again, shootings, it's guns. That's it. That's the common denominator. All the other factors are usually, of course, usually it's a white male, not always, but usually. And sometimes they have ties to neo-Nazis, like this kid apparently did, or at least the ideas. And apparently so did the Parkland shooter. Again, I'm not gonna name the shooters because they're despicable human beings that should either rot in jail or face the death penalty. I guess it depends on their age, depends on the state. To go into school and kill your classmates, your friends, or your teachers, or anybody really, that is despicable, and you don't deserve. You don't deserve to be here. Honestly, you can just be locked up forever for the rest of your life when nobody else can see or hear from you because you are a monster. And like I mentioned, the GOP had this whole agenda. Now they're blaming video games, which is an old thing, which has been disproving time and time again. How many millions of kids use video games and they don't kill people? Again, violence on TV and video games does not correlate to actual violence in real life. There's been studies done about this. It's an easy target. It's an easy thing for the GOP senators who don't want to talk about guns because they're getting the NRA money. It's an easy thing for them to say because if you look at it, like, well, yeah, there's a lot of violence on TV, so it kind of makes sense, but there's no correlation, scientifically. So, and like, for example, Dan Patrick, the Texas lieutenant governor, he blamed everything except guns for the shooting. He blamed there were too many entrances and too many exits. And again, that is insane because, like somebody else pointed out, that Texas has stricter regulations on doors than does for guns. He blamed it on abortions, which what the hell? Like, what are you smoking, dude? Again, backpacks, decline in family values, and you got people like Oliver North, the incoming criminal NRA president, who blame it on Ritalin. Again, there's no correlation, there's no studies, there's nothing. It's just bullshit because they don't want to speak the truth that, yeah, guns are the problem. Apparently, this particular shooting happened because the shooter, this 17-year-old kid, he apparently was upset because his girl had denied his advances, and he thought the best way to deal with that is to kill her and anybody else he didn't like. This toxic masculinity is a problem that we all need to deal with as a society. We need to raise and teach sons from the very early on that it is not okay to harass women, to hurt them, to kill them, or touch them, whatever, in an inappropriate way. It is not okay to take out your grievances by shooting and killing somebody. It is not okay to expect women to have sex with you whenever you want, like that guy who in Toronto who killed 10 people with a van in April because he felt that women owe him sex and they didn't give it to him. So, let's just kill people. That mentality is so toxic and so dangerous and so prevalent, especially nowadays. I think, well, I don't know if it's prevalent nowadays. I think nowadays people find each other online. There's communities for these idiots to bond together and care to each other. And again, get it in your head. Women don't owe you anything. Nothing at all. But I'm not surprised that this shooter was motivated by rejection, because again, there's this whole culture that that teaches guys to expect things from women, and when they don't get it, they blame everybody else except themselves. No, they don't look in the mirror and see, well, what am I doing wrong, or how can I just not be so creepy? Like anything. Just look at yourself in the mirror, dude. And first of all, know that women don't owe you a thing. Second of all, fix yourself before somebody else likes you. And even if you fix yourself and a girl doesn't like you, guess what? Move on. She doesn't like you. She doesn't have to like you. Nobody has to like you. Somebody may, but they don't have to. And that's just the way it is. Again, I don't want to go off on this tangent for a long time because, like I mentioned earlier, the common denominator of all the shootings are guns. I think the GOP wanted this issue to go away, especially since the elections are coming up soon. But like I mentioned in my Parkland episode, the Never Again episode, this is going to keep happening. And guess what? It just happened. There were 10 victims, fatal victims, and 10 more injured. 2 of the people killed were teachers, substitute teachers. And it's horrifying that a week before graduation, a week before classes were over, parents have to bury their children. That is unacceptable, and it only happens here to this degree, at this level. And again, it doesn't have to be that way. We can change it, and we will change it. We can change this. We can put in office people who are against the NRA, who have F reviews from the NRA, who will fight with all they have to pass more gun control laws to keep our children safe. I have kids, and it terrifies me. It terrifies me to the core, because it happened in Texas. It happened in Florida. It's only a matter of time before it happens in your state, in your school, before it happens to your kid. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just telling you the facts. Unless things change, this will happen to you or somebody you know closely, because this is an epidemic. And since nothing's had changed, and politicians, all they're going to do again is send thoughts and prayers and then go back to their offices and keep getting those checks from the NRA for the campaign donations. So unless we kick those people out, this is going to happen. And it could happen to you, and more than likely it will happen. Again, I hope not. But unfortunately, this is a reality. It's a reality we can change. That's a good thing about it. You can change it. You can mobilize yourself and people around you to vote for candidates that will make this their issue. I shared on my social media, which of course pissed a lot of people off, but I don't really care. But I shared how thoughts and prayers didn't save any of the Parkland kids. How since Columbine we've been saying thoughts and prayers, and the hundreds of people that have been killed were not saved by those prayers. And people got offended, saying, well, you're saying my prayers don't count? I'm not saying that, because I pray, I believe in God, and I hurt for those kids and those families, and I am sending my thoughts and prayers. But you know what I'm doing? I'm also going to vote for people who don't support the NRA. That's what I'm doing. Action speaks louder than thoughts and prayers. You can pray, you can think about them, but unless you vote for people who are going to push the agenda of reform, then those prayers are just staying in the ceiling of your house. They're not going any farther than that. Because you have the power to change things. You don't have to wait for anybody to do it. You can do it. It's easy to pray and feel sad for 5 minutes or maybe a week or however long you can feel sad for these kids and these families before you go on with your day and forget about it and don't make this an issue because it didn't affect you personally. But you don't have to wait until that happens. You can do something about it today. Again, you can look for candidates that are anti-NRA and you can make this your issue. Make this your priority. If you're offended by 1,000 prayers, I'm assuming that you're a Christian, then make this your issue. Make kids' lives who are going to school, trying to learn, just trying to live their lives, make this your voting issue. Do it for the kids. Do it for my kids. Do it for your grandkids, for your own kids, if you have any, for your friends' kids. Do it for them because we need everybody's help and support to change this nation's laws that are outdated, that are from a different century, that don't fit anymore. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate your support. And let's go out there and let's make it happen. Let's vote for people who are really going to change things and not just talk about it. I'll be sending my thoughts and prayers to the families because I do believe they work, but I also believe in action. I believe in both. Thanks for listening, guys.